The Fueled by Death guest.
We always like to, when we're talking, especially to musicians, we love to kind of start in the beginning. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting for us to hear, especially for someone like you who embraces all different types of music. Where you do you remember when you picked up a guitar, or when you started to sing, or when you really started to when music started to come out of you? Kind of, do you remember what influenced you to do that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, I left Haiti when I was 10 years old,
Uh huh.
and I came to Marlboro Projects in Brooklyn,
Yep.
and projects was very rough. And I always said my mom took a gun out of my hand and replaced it with a guitar.
Wow.
Wow.
So for me, music was like, it wasn't just like we're doing music. It was like it's like survival. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, so, when you singing, it's not, you can't just be making up things, like you drift off to the reality.
Right.
But I had an interesting story because my dad was a preacher,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So being that he was a minister, man, he didn't want me listening to rap music. He called it drug dealer music. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
That's crazy Haitian accent. I don't want you to listen to this music, this drug dealer music. And you a teenager, so whatever your parents tell you don't do, you're gonna do. And I fell in love with hip hop, but being that my dad was a Christian minister,
Uh huh.
I grew up in a very cool but weird environment, right? So that means that before I heard Run DMC, I heard Petra.
Okay.
Petra is a Christian rock band, dude.
Yeah.
So before I heard Run DMC, I heard Amy Grant.
Oh wow.
Yo, so then I fell in love with what was called Christian rock,
Yeah.
right? And in falling in love with Christian rock, because that's my dad wanted me to hear that. So my brother, the first the first cassette tape he bought to me that wasn't Christian rock was the Police Synchronicity.
Oh, good one.
Awesome. Great record.
Yeah, man. So you could think like, so it was very eclectic for me, like
Yeah.
straight from the gate. But I would say like it was more like hiding, the music that you listening to from your parents because you don't want them to know that you're listening to this kind of music. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Uh, it's shaped like a trippy, growing up for me. Then by the time I was 15, I became like the best battle rapper to come out of my area in New Jersey. And battle rapping, similar to like the movie you saw, 8 Miles, it was just a different way to in the streets versus being violent about a situation. You could joust about it lyrically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it like kind of gives an outlet for people who might be a little bit angrier than they should be.
Yeah, I call it lyrically jousting, you know what I'm saying to you? But it's
Yeah.
so funny because today you have all these battle leagues, one of them is like URL, you got King of the Dot. Like battle rap is one of the biggest thing in the world. What's deep is you could see one Crip and one Blood, two opposite sides, and there's no guns, and what
Yeah.
they're doing, they're taking it out lyrically. And to me, I always feel like music and sports is like the best outlet, you know what I mean, to take things out.
I agree. I totally agree. Um,
Yeah.
so moving forward a little bit, after you're getting into, I guess, performing even from like battle rap and stuff like that. Um, when did it kind of? When did you? Was it a point in your career where you were like, I want to do this as a career, or was it always just like you said about survival?
Well, for me, like it's like Johnny Cash, you know what I mean? Like that's how I used to always write songs just to escape, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't know what it's gonna be yet. I remember being 17 years old, I was a big fan of Rakim, one of the
Yeah.
best rappers, and I played upright bass. I was also in a jazz band, and I remember basically taking my upright bass and driving on, taking it on the train, going all the way to be an extra in a Rakim video.
Oh, crazy.
And I got cast to be in this video, Rakim. None of them knew who I was. The record is called Don't Sweat the Technique, and I'm playing upright bass.
Oh my
And
God, that's awesome.
and I would say maybe that I was like, yo, this maybe I could make a living out of this. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was just an extra dude, like ain't like anybody knew me, right?
Right.
And years later, I even was telling Rakim this story when he came to her show homage. He was like, "No effing no, you wasn't in my." I was like, "Dude, I was the extra in your video, and I got more shots than you."
That's so great.
That's so cool.
That's funny.
So I would say for me, that's where a lot of it started. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, so the combination of that, and you start to get older, and by the time I was like 18 years old, I would say that's when I knew, because I was just leaving like high school, you feel me?
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm leaving high school, and I get a call from one of my boys. He said that Atlantic Records, which was like Big Beat Records at the time with Craig Cowman,
Yep.
they were looking for vocalists because they were putting out a house record, you know?
Hmm.
And he said that he recommended that I write the record. So I went to New York, and they played me the beat. I mean, I'm just trying to get on, just a little kid,
Yeah.
and they play this beat, and I literally write the record on the spot. You know what I mean? And I
Whoa.
remember it. I remember that day vividly because that sort of like was the day, that week that Nelson Mandela had just came out of prison.
Oh.
That's how I remember it, dude.
Yeah.
So then I just started doing these vocals and just writing a record on the spot. Dude, then I left, and this is the funniest story. So now when I leave, this record becomes famous, right, in the underground clubs
Hmm.
at 18 years old. Now what's crazy is when I tell you this stuff and you research it, you're gonna bug out, right?
Uh-huh.
So now this record is blowing up in the underground, and there was a problem. When I left the studio, I just basically took my little money they gave me, but I never left my name. So the dudes was like, "Yo, what should we call him?" You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They was like, "Yo, well, he sounds African, so we'll just call him Africali." So these
What?
MFs, right? So if y'all go online, right?
No.
It was like, he sounds like he's from Africa. He has an accent. We'll call him Africali.
Oh.
So they gave me this mysterious name, right?
My
Mysterious.
goodness.
So it's like Africali. The record is called Out of the Jungle. If anybody want to check it, the artist is Africali. So years later, dude, I see this DJ. Like this is like 10 years later, and now I'm Wyclef Jean. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's DJ called Flex. He's like, "Yo, man, did you have a twin?" And like in the late, like, like the 90s going into like, did you have a twin? Because there's this dude who sounds just like you. And he said, but he can't be you because his name is Africali. Right? So I was
That's
like,
so good.
dude, play the record. And the record comes on, and the record goes, "Out of the jungle, here we go. Way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh." And it's Wyclef Jean. You know what I'm saying? So now I was thinking, like, should I call them MFs up and tell them that my name is Wyclef Jean
Right?
and blow them up and say, "You guys, But I actually thanked them, you know what I mean? Because now I could come out with house records as Africali as Wyclef's, AKA brother from Africa.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
yeah.
Wait, so do you still use that name?
You know what? I was doing a record with Gorgon City out of England, London,
Uh-huh.
and it was like a house record.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yo, we're gonna call this Wyclef, aka Africali."
Awesome.
And then I also told the Vici the story too when I was working with Tim.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yo, dude," I was like, "Yo, one of my early records was a house record." And I would think like from there, I probably started taking the idea of maybe I could be a songwriter
Uh-huh.
for artists and just start producing for people. That was my initial thoughts.
Wow, that's awesome. And I mean,
Yeah.
the question goes even further than that. Like you're gaining some underground. You're gaining, some sort of not necessarily notoriety, but you're getting out there. You're writing records. You're getting your name out there, even though it's not your name at that moment.
Yeah, it's crazy though.
But
Cali.
what was it like going from someone, and this is a question I'm always curious about. What is it like going from someone who is, desperately trying just to, like you said, creating music to survive and desperately just putting it out there because that's what you feel, and then you're writing and producing the score with the Fugees, and that becomes everywhere, like everywhere, and you go from someone who is technically underground to someone who is above ground as you can possibly be.
About as big as you get. And how do you keep stable with all that fame lumped on all at once?
You don't, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shit.
Ain't no such thing. Like, you off balance for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Because the score, right?
Yeah.
I did this in my uncle's basement.
Yeah.
So I did that like in my basement. So I was always like in the hood. I was like a thug nerd. You feel what I'm saying?
I love
So
it.
I was that kid that would go to Sam Ash and read all the manuals, and the dude be like, "If you're not gonna buy nothing, get out the store." So
Right.
so being in the basement, getting a chance to rock out the score. So you got to think about it. So you're in like New Jersey and you're in the basement and you're producing all this music. In my brain, there's no way in hell that the score was gonna explode like that. Because
Right.
coming from the underground, we was like, okay, well, this one, because the first one we put out was called Blunted on Reality.
Mhm.
So the score was actually the Fugees' second album.
Right. Yeah.
Blunted ain't even do that well. So we was like, you know what? Maybe this one will probably sell 50,000 and we could maintain a fan base and keep touring.
Right. But nope.
Yeah, and then it goes from there to just purely, I would say the explosion. We was on tour in Europe, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I always say that the best feeling is when you get that call from the record company and they're like, "Yo, you're number one in America." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like every rock band knows that feeling that's made it, like
Yeah.
beat that feeling, because you know what I'm saying? We go from welcome to McDonald's, could I take your order, to buying the McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a surreal feeling. But you know what most artists will tell you? You don't get to live it because it's going real time. You know what I'm saying to you? So they ain't like, oh, you're number one, let you go to San Tropez and chill,
Right.
It's like, no, number one. So you're going to work like a wrestler. 365s of the,
Yeah.
we got you on demand 289 dates, you know what I'm saying? And, I would say the crazy thing used to be like when the Fugees had 3 shows a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would have to go from Europe, right?
Yep.
And then they get back to America. And we couldn't take no ordinary planes because the planes would not get back that quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the craziest plane we took, the Concorde.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, dude, real talk. When rappers be talking about G5s, I'm like, what y'all know about the Concorde? I mean, the Concorde basically is like a military jet converted into like a commercial jet. You know what I mean?
So
And literally,
fast.
we would make it from Europe back to the States, man, in like 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
So you go from there, then you got to jump on stage, then get back on the plane, go back to Europe,
Holy crap. You don't even know what day it is then.
You don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. All you know is the roar of the crowd, the roar of the arena. And then you just, you know what I mean? You always on the go. So I would say it definitely was a surreal feeling to go from that booger basement to the Concorde,
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's got to be so hard to take a step back and actually take in the success that you're experiencing at the moment. Like it must have felt like a dream.
Man, it's still a dream today, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I mean,
honest,
what?
it's like a dream. Every day I wake up, I like pinch myself, be like, really?
Yeah.
You know?
Wait,
Yeah.
Speaking of actually today, I mean, like, what's crazy even about a record like The Score is like it wasn't just big when it hit in '96. It's still big today.
Still huge.
Those hits are still played everywhere, to the point where, as we're recording this record, Jay-Z's record just dropped and he samples Fuji La. on one of his new tracks. And I mean, like that's just a testament of the material that you created, you know, for that. And I think that's
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah, well, like I said, for us, it was like, you know, when I was doing the score,
Hmm.
there was two albums. When I was doing the score and when I was doing the carnival.
Right,
Those
right.
two albums, my blueprint was the Beatles, Sergeant Pepper,
Nice.
and then my other blueprint was Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Nice.
What do you mean by your blueprint? Just like your approach?
Yeah, like you know how just my inspiration. I was like, I want to make something like Sergeant Pepper. I want to make something like The Wall, but it's going to be talking about my hip hop community. So sonically, I'm already like in that hip hop rock era. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm not even thinking. So I'm just like, how can I was like, because those records did something to humanity. You know what I mean? And I
definitely.
was like, I was having this conversation with Carlos Santana like a few months ago, and Santana was like, we don't do music, we do vibrations, and a vibration lasts longer than music. It'll constantly be coming back over, and then it's funny. So then a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I'm speaking to DJ Khaled, and he's like, yo, Clef, we sampled you and Santana's record, Maria Maria, me and Rihanna, you know what I'm saying? Like, we
Yeah.
about to do it. We need you to get Santana. So, dude, I always believed in the power of like just doing music. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
always like if you could just do music, and I'm telling you, when you do like songs and you write them from the heart, people are gonna find those songs. So I always believed in that. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. And seeing as though you brought up DJ Khaled, speaking on, you were talked about, you know, Carnival, which came out 20 years ago, soon, and now you're gonna have Carnival 3, which is available for pre-sale now. But you have some really awesome people appearing on that record with you, including DJ Khaled, right?
Yeah, well, Carnival 3 is gonna be crazy, you know what I'm saying? And everybody that's looking at that cover, you know what I'm saying, ain't no freaking what they call that. How they be trying to make up your body
Yeah.
with all of these fake things. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what is it? Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Ain't Photoshop there, you know what I'm saying?
No, man,
Wyclef is built like a UFC fighter for real. You know what I mean? I'm from the era of Hoist Gracie. I go in for real. Right?
Now you're speaking my language.
heck yeah, man. No, you look great on that record.
Oh man, come on, y'all don't want to. Man, listen, I've been watching UFC from VCR tapes in a tour bus like 30 something years ago, dude.
Nice.
Me
When
too.
P-Point,
But I
you
wasn't on
feel
a
me?
I wasn't on a
Man,
tour bus when I was watching them.
man, I was like, what y'all know about Shamrock, man? I was like, I was like, King Shamrock.
That's awesome.
My dude.
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you pull inspiration from that at all? From fighters?
Of course.
Yeah.
Rick, come on, brother. Like the thing about anybody who understands fighting. I mean, first of all, mixed martial arts is where it's at.
Yep.
Because it's a whole discipline that comes with mixed martial arts. It don't really matter the person's size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about the chi. So I always measure that the same way with music. So you was just talking about like the people that's on the album, for example.
Uh-huh.
All my albums have always been about discovery.
Yeah,
It's never
totally.
been about, oh, because somebody is on the chart, they on the album. So you will hear an album, you ain't gonna know who Lauryn Hill is. And later you'll be like, oh, that's Lauryn Hill, or that's
Right.
John Forte. So we did the same approach with the Carnival 3. So in the Carnival 3, what's ill about it is all of the kids, all of the producers that was inspired by Wyclef when he did the Carnival, those are the kids I partnered up with 20 years later.
That's so
So
cool.
what's crazy about this is you got a kid called Super Mario. Super Mario is the one who did the Young Thug record. Young Thug got a record called Wyclef Jean.
Yeah.
So Super Mario did it. So I was like, yo, anybody who did a record, who produced a record called Wyclef Jean got the Wyclef Jean frequency.
Right.
So we hooked up together and we did a record called Fela Kuti, which came out crazy. Another group of producers who I combined with is some producers called the Knox.
Hmm.
We did a record that's called like What Happened to Love. So I'm excited about, so if the best way I could explain this album, man, it's like 1997 Sonics meet 2017. So we got a lot of live instrumentation
Awesome.
playing against the electronic trap drums against the live kit. You know what I'm saying to you? That's the energy of the carnival. You know what I mean?
That's really cool.
Talking about I'm sorry. You hit me with mixed martial arts, so I'm going to use this analogy a little
Yo,
bit.
dude, that's my thing, man.
Cool. So there's a thing that's always kind of plagues me about like what's more important about somebody's approach. Is it confidence or is it intelligence? If you were to pick one.
Yo, the key is intelligence. You will get knocked the F out with just confidence, right? Because intelligence is like playing chess. You know what I mean? And then when you play chess, you mapping moves out before the move, because you could look at a man's eye and if they have confidence, it's a wrap. You see what I'm saying? Because you've already sized the person up. But when someone's operating from a level of intelligence, you don't know half of the time where it's coming. So like, for example, me, I believe in counterpunching. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm the kind of guy who I'm going to let you come at me so I could study you and see how you're gonna move. You know what I mean?
Anderson Silva style.
Even if I know I might be able to put you out, if I think in my mind confidence first, you know what I mean? We seen what confidence did to many. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I put intelligence. Even the cockiest. It could be the cockiest boxers, the cockiest. You know what I mean? That point of reference, like, dude, I got a chance to meet Muhammad Ali. Not one occasions, many occasions.
Wow.
You feel me?
Yeah.
One of the best of all times, for example. And yeah, Ali had that talk where he told you when he was gonna knock you out and all of that.
Yeah.
And he had that confidence, right? Where he would man, but he was so mathematically trained.
Yeah.
He was that whole play that he was doing was in a chess in intelligence, because you would think like, oh, this guy's just a talker, but he's baiting you because he's well trained. You know what I'm saying to you?
It's almost like the confidence is part of the intelligence when it comes to somebody like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Or the Gracies, you know what I'm saying? Like take the Gracies, one of the founders, you know what I mean? Like Hoist Gracie, a lot of it, you know what I mean? Because technique is intelligence, right? Because with the technique, basically you have to learn the technique, then you have to apply the intelligence real time when we grappling on the floor, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yo, I'm really into this thing. George Sinclair.
Yeah.
So I have a video out called The Ring, and I actually did it in one gym that he trained in Montreal. So if y'all got a chance, check that out. It's called The Ring.
Out in TriStar Gym?
Yeah, out in Montreal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Man. So
Very
did you get
cool.
to
I trained in that gym. And look, when you look at the video The Ring, what you see is what you get. Like, it's no play. Like, I'm not faking it.
Yeah.
If you see I'm getting hit, I'm really getting hit. If you see I was like, whatever we shoot, let's just get it how we get it. You know what I mean?
That's
Heck yeah.
so cool. Dude, that gets me so pumped you're into that whole
That's
MMA
my thing.
mentality, man.
That's my thing.
That's cool. I'm a bigger fan now, officially.
That's my thing, bro. Believe that.
That's awesome.
So do you have any plans for like a tour following this album at all?
Yeah, definitely. We want everybody we got Wyclef.com, right? So if anyone who's listening here, you subscribe to Wyclef.com, we're able to just send you real time like newsletters where we're gonna be at. We're gonna be in your city, all over, you know what I mean? We're gonna be taking a tour. And they call me the Haitian alien. If you haven't been to Wyclef show, it's like a Jimi Hendrix experience, So make sure you get that newsletter and just come to see like a crazy show. I can't explain it to you. I play like 7 instruments. Sometimes I might show up with the band, or sometimes I do the one-man show. I'm going through 7 instruments. So I don't know what I'm going to do this time, but it's going to be crazy.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And you've already released 2 early tracks off the record, and it's a record's got 12 tracks on it. Is there any, outside of the 2 that you've already released, is there any track that you're really excited to get out there? I mean, I'm sure you're excited for all of it. But...
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a track called Warriors. I'm really excited about this track. Warriors is heavy.
Awesome.
It's talking to the testament of what we talking about right now, and just letting everybody know like they're warriors. And then it's another record called Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time is probably one of the deepest records that I wrote in a minute. You know what I mean? Because Borrowed Time is like, I feel we all on borrowed time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the whole record, it just makes us reflect. Okay, so Bruce Hornsby, he had "That's Just the Way It Is." Some
Yeah.
things will never change. Okay, Billy Joe had "We Ain't Start the Fire." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Wyclef "Borrowed Time." That's the best way to explain it. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
Black Eyed Peas had "Where to Love." You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? So Clef "Borrowed Time." So it's in the vein of like storytelling like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I kind of wanted to ask you. It's been 8 years since Carnival 2, and with the 12 tracks on this record, and you're someone who doesn't just attack a record because you're going to put out a record. Like you said, music is again survival to you, and it's something that you do every single day. What was it like coming up with the track list for this? I'm sure you probably had a ton of songs that you kind of coalesced into these 12, right?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, we first what we did was we put out an EP
Yep.
because I don't take anything for granted, and I believe if you haven't put music out, you shouldn't just appear on the Super Bowl like that, with the superstar, because then they're gonna be
Right.
like, who's that person with that person, So I still believe in the Bernie Sanders approach, like if you want to do it, let's get down to the grassroots community level, let people know what's going on.
Right.
And then with the EP, we had like three records that was streaming crazy. One was called Hendrix, and that was like me telling the story to the new generation about to November and what that meant to me, making runs and how in the ghetto, I had two choices. It was either going to be violence with the drugs, my cousins and them was moving like El Chapo. And I was like, nope, I'm going to play the guitar and stay here in this basement. So that was cool. So from those analytics and us up in the show, I just knew for the album where we had to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew that people missed the classic Wyclef sound, and I knew for it to work, I just had to be Wyclef. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of what you hearing is like, Wyclef is Wyclef, just with that, that shot of the Sonics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's very hard though for an artist like me to narrow it down. That's why the label that I'm with is called Heads Music, right?
Hmm.
And then this album's coming out with Heads Music and Sony Legacy with Sony. Sony is the old family that I've always been with. So and then Heads Music is my new family. So I feel confident in our track list.
That's awesome. One of the things we ask every single person we have on Fueled by Deathcast, and I think it's as more important for you than anything because you have been so integral in the music scene for so long and done so many amazing things. Is what fuels you to keep getting out there and producing music, writing music? What is your fuel? What actually fuels your passion to do that?
Well, I mean, every time, every era, right? You got to get a new passion, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't get out there every week on stage singing the same songs, right? So I would say this whole new invention, my passion is my daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. Awesome.
Like this is my passion this time, this inspiration. She 12 years old. I do this because I see the smile on her face, when she see her pop on TV, when she goes to school, she like my daddy Wyclef Jean, and she's smiling and she loves music. We could sit there and she's way cooler than me. In her mind, she's putting me up on game. You know what I mean? So she's like, Dad, do you know who DJ Khaled is? Really, Angelina? I go back to Khaled when he was selling records out of his trunk. Okay, but do you know? Okay, Dad, I heard this. This is cool, but you need to remix this with DJ Snake. And I'm like, who? And then she put me up on DJ Snake. So I would just say like that communication and that excitement that I could get, man, from just my daughter, like being in, you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
like you travel a lot and you miss your family. So to be able to have a conversation like that with my daughter, I want to hold her hands, bring her to the award shows, you know, I want Drake to give her a kiss when he sees her,
Yeah.
all of these things are what makes me happy. You know what I mean? I do this thing for my daughter right now.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool. So, I have a question. Do you get like a gut feeling while you're producing and recording a song that ends up kind of gaining steam and getting a hit? Do you kind of know while you're recording it?
No, what I get is it just feels special, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then some things that feel special don't necessarily hit right away. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I'm always saying, like, when you super like, when you like multi-talented, it's weird because I tell people I don't know what a hit is. I just know what a feeling is,
Yeah.
So I remember when I did Hipstone Live for Shakira, right?
Yeah.
But the original record, I did it 2 years before Shakira on a soundtrack called Havana Nights, dude. And the record felt special, but it was another artist singing it, Claudette Ortiz.
Uh-huh.
So if anybody listened to Last Dance 2 years prior to that, I did it with Shakira, you're gonna say, "Holy crap! It's the same record that Clef had. He just remixed it with Shakira." The same way DJ Khaled just remixed my record with Rihanna.
Right.
That's all I did with Shakira, and then it became a hit. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes if you're in the studio and you're recording and you feel like something is special, don't stop and don't get discouraged because you put it out and it may not do the numbers you want it to do or the reaction, but you got to keep it up because sometimes it takes people a minute to catch on to something new. You have to always remember that. You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally.
Is there anybody that you haven't worked with that you'd like to work with?
Well, I mean, I think Kendrick Lamar's dope.
So good.
J. Cole, people like that.
Yeah.
I think they're very dope. Drakey, I love. Wizkid out of Africa. There's a whole sound out of Africa, a whole Afro beat that I'm really, you know what I'm saying, really, really into, you know what I mean? But really, like right now for me, discovery is the most important thing. And I so miss, as much of a hip hop head I'm a rock head. You feel me?
Yeah.
I perform, I also DJ. So like I used to DJ on the block too. So in my show, sometimes I rock with my band. And then when I DJ, this be some of my favorite moments, right? Because you get to see what's in the head of Wyclef playlist, right?
Yeah.
So I would go from like Nirvana Teen Spirit to like Guns N' Roses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I miss some of those like old rock bands, you know what I mean? So you know how hip hop constantly reinvent themselves?
Yep.
I need to know who the new Nirvana is, you feel me?
I hear
like,
ya.
there's the new like Welcome to the Jungle. That kind of energy, I still think we need that out there too, you know what I'm saying? And remember, like those dudes, they still was saying something,
Yeah.
but it was just like for a lot of those bands, you know what I'm saying to you?
Oh, totally.
Have
totally.
you listened to Highly Suspect yet? I feel like they hit that vein pretty well.
Hard. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Super.
Dude,
Yeah.
and
That's
they,
one of my.
they kill
one
it
of my
live too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. I want to see more bands like that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Same here,
totally.
man. Same
Totally.
here.
Well, we are so excited for Carnival 3, The Fall and Rise of a Refugee, coming out in September,
Yeah.
right? Right? It comes out in
Yeah,
September?
definitely. Yeah, they come out the pre-order. But dudes, go subscribe to that Wyclef.com so we send y'all them newsletters.
Definitely. Wyclef.com, and obviously you're Wyclef on all social media and everything. And we can't thank you enough for taking time to talk to us on the podcast.
Yeah,
man.
dude, this was very awesome. We're very appreciative, very grateful,
Yeah,
man.
the music was dope, but now we connected on that UFC real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yo, check
at
this
least-
out. A little bit off
At least,
podcast.
if we had a bar or something, you know what I mean? We get approached, you know what I mean? We know
Yeah.
we don't need much people to handle ourselves.
exactly.
awesome,
exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Dude,
man.
Seriously, thank you so much, man. Really
Alright.
appreciate it.
Love is love, you dig?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, one, bro.
See you.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.